How we doing tonight, guys? This is Baki checking in live from my house. After game one of the NBA Finals, Warriors Cavs game one. Warriors take a big win. They get the W 113-91. Huge win for the Golden State Warriors. They take a 1-0 lead in the NBA Finals against the Cavaliers. I preface my comments by saying this one game. We've seen how everything went down last year and the year before. So one game doesn't make, you know, end of season, end of series. One game doesn't just win the championship. So overall, big win though for the Golden State Warriors. Huge win. Winning game one is a great tone setter. They set the tone. They came out and they punched the Cavs in the mouth. They let them know, like, number one, we're here. We're here to reclaim what they feel like is theirs, and that's an NBA championship. Let's not forget, the Warriors and Cavs did go 7 games last season. It went down to the wire to the final minutes. This team was very close to winning a title last year, as well as winning a title in 2015. So Golden State has a big chip on their shoulder. They're the first team that let another team come back from being down 3 games to one, and letting a team come back and win a championship. So it's a big chip on the Warriors' shoulders. It's a lot of pressure on them. But the guy who has the most pressure on their shoulders is LeBron James. He's the guy that's been to the finals 7 straight years. He's the guy chasing the GOAT. He's the guy, trying to, basically earn his right of being on the Mount Rushmore of NBA greats. At the end of the day, smoke, let dust settle. LeBron James had a decent game for himself. He had a decent game. He had 7 killer turnovers, though. 7 killer turnovers. Overall, was the game was a was momentum was going back and forth, but the Warriors felt like they were in control from the jump. You know, they felt like they took control, and like I said earlier in this video, they punched the Cavs in the mouth. And they let the Cavs know that, number one, they're here and they're ready to take back what's theirs. KD, 38. Steph Curry, 28. Both guys almost had triple doubles. Steph, 28, 6 rebounds and 10 assists. KD, 38 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. So 2 huge games from both the Warriors' best players, 2 biggest guns. I want to also give a shout out to Draymond Green and Klay Thompson. They didn't score well, but defensively, they made huge contributions. Klay Thompson with his efforts on defense against Kyrie Irving. Draymond Green being all over the floor, grabbing rebounds, playing amazing defense on Kevin Love, and also, putting a body in front of LeBron James on his drives. It was a great defensive effort. The key to Game 1's victory for the Warriors was defense and rebounding. They rebounded the basketball on both ends of the floor. Their defensive rebounds, their offensive rebounds were key, and they stayed in front of guys. They did not let the Cavaliers have any easy shots. If anybody watched the game, the Cavs really didn't have too many fast break points. The Cavs really didn't get out on the break, and that goes to what the Warriors did. Defensively, they limited the Cavs to one shot. They grabbed the rebounds, and they took it down the court on the other end. Offensively, they got second chance points. They defended. They got steals. They got in those passing lanes. The Cavs had 20 turnovers as a team. 20 turnovers to the Warriors 4. If a team is going to turn the ball over 20 times to another team's 4, 10 times out of 10, The team who has the least amount of turnovers is gonna win. That's just fact. You can't turn the ball over 20 times and then allow the other team to have so many fast breaks going up and down the court. That's ridiculous. Um, Already we can hear the LeBron James apologist excuses already. I've been watching, ESPN. I've been watching, a lot of, shows, post game shows, after the game, and I'm already hearing well, LeBron looks tired. I'm like, really? So let's be real. They get their ass kicked, and LeBron's tired. This is the problem. This is the problem why there's a lot of people who cannot stand LeBron James. It's not really because of LeBron James. It is because of the media outlets and the pundits that make excuses every time things doesn't go his way. Every time he loses, there's always some reason or an excuse. It's never, let's give the other team or another player the credit that they deserve for all of their efforts and everything that they done. We're already hearing like, well, but LeBron looked tired. I'm like, dude, the how? The NBA Finals, this was game one. And it's not like they, just had a 7-game series in the conference finals and then hopped into game one of the NBA Finals. No, both teams are fully rested. The Cavs haven't played since last Wednesday. The Warriors haven't played since last Monday. Look, what are we talking about? Rest. What are we talking about LeBron James being tired for? LeBron James just had a whole, 8 days off. And let's not forget about, just these 8 days off before the NBA Finals. They were sweeping every team except for the Boston Celtics, which, Boston took them to 5 games. But the Cavs were sweeping every other team in the first 2 rounds where they had tremendous amounts of rest. Hell, LeBron James rested in the regular season. How many games did LeBron James did not play in because of rest? So he can be fully rested and fully ready to go for this moment, the NBA Finals. So for people to come out and try to make excuses saying, "Oh, he looked tired," I'm like, tired for what? I mean, damn, the man has had so much rest all season to prepare for this stage, and because he lost, now it's he needed rest. He looked tired. That is the problem. It is the hugest problem why a lot of people do not like LeBron James, because it's this notion out here that when he loses, we have to make excuses for why he lost. We never want to, come out and blame him and say, "Oh, well, he just didn't play well. He stunk it up." LeBron James did not play well this game. The man had 7 turnovers. The Cavs as a team had 20 turnovers. Out of the 20, LeBron James by himself had 7. He didn't play well. Like I said, it's not all on him, obviously, because the Cavs bench gave him nothing. Let's that's a whole nother rant and a whole nother thing. The Cavaliers bench gave them nothing. Literally nothing. All these acquisitions they made this season, Darren Williams and Kyle Korver, which were supposed to have been the 2 biggest acquisitions to shore up the bench. Both of them played like hot box garbage in this game. They played like trash. They contributed nothing. I think honestly, if we watch the game, the only 2 players that came off the bench and contributed anything for the Cavs off their bench was Richard Jefferson and Iman Shumpert. They're the only 2 bench guys that I think actually scored a bucket in the game. And those were 2 guys that were already on the team. So the free agent or trade acquisitions that they made during the season to shore up the bench didn't even perform tonight. So that's another huge reason why the Cavs lost. If you're not going to get anything from your bench, there's no, as great as LeBron James and Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love are, if you're not going to get any type of production from the bench, you're not going to beat Golden State. That's not going to happen. Another guy who needs to be called out, J.R. Smith, played like hot box garbage as well. He was a no-show. I didn't even know J.R. Smith was even out there. Like, he did nothing on the court to even show that he was even out on the court. He was a no-show. Tristan Thompson was a huge no-show. Huge no-show. And for the Cavaliers to win and to beat the Golden State Warriors and win this series, they're going to need some production from the bench. They're going to need consistent production from the bench. They're going to need Tristan Thompson to rebound the basketball and play solid defense. And they're going to need J.R. Smith to make shots. They're going, those three contributing factors are going to have to contribute something. Those are three contributing factors. J.R. Smith has to contribute, Tristan Thompson has to contribute, and then they need to find consistency off their bench. That is the only way that they're going to have a chance against the Golden State Warriors. If the Cavaliers don't get production from the bench and don't get production from J.R. Smith and Tristan Thompson, they have no hope of winning. Because you can't put all the pressure on Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, and LeBron James to carry this whole team against a team like the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors have too many players in too many ways who can produce. You know, yes, Steph Curry and Kevin Durant had huge games, but Klay Thompson played amazing defense tonight. He was 3 for 16 from the floor, so offensively his shot was off, but he didn't let that affect his defensive game. He played an excellent defensive game. Draymond Green had 9 points, but had, double-digit rebounds, played solid defense, took charges, grabbed every offensive board almost. I mean, he was a force. Klay Thompson and Draymond Green defensively were the two best defensive players on the floor tonight. Kevin Durant also has some, amazing defensive players, so you want to give him credit as well, because he played amazing defense guarding LeBron James. But Draymond Green and Klay Thompson, defensively, their defensive efforts need to be applauded and commended, because even though their offensive games weren't going down, defensively they were there. They didn't let the offense affect their defense. They were playing extremely well. They did their thing out there. Andre Iguodala came off the bench, made solid contributions in the first half. Sean Livingston came off the bench, made solid contributions. But like I said before, if the Cleveland Cavaliers want to beat the Golden State Warriors, they are going to have to, 1, limit the turnovers, 2, dominate, the boards, and 3, they're going to have to create turnovers. So they're going to have to play better defense. They're going to have to keep guys in front of them. They're going to have to get in those passing lanes. They're going to have to rebound the basketball and limit their turnovers on the offensive end. There's no way in the world you can beat a team committing 20 turnovers and the other team has only 4 turnovers. I mean, there's no way in hell. It's not going to happen. But like I said, it's only one game. It's game 1, So, the NBA Finals, these type of series, they're series of adjustments. So from game to game, each coach is going to make an adjustment. So Tyronn Lue is going to make an adjustment in game 2. So I predict early on that game 2 is going to be a closer game. It's going to be a way more competitive game than game 1 was, because I believe Tyronn Lue will make adjustments. He will, make the necessary adjustments to put Cleveland in a better position to succeed. But I believe Mike Brown, coach of the acting head coach of the Golden State Warriors, he's going to adjust to those adjustments. But we will see what happens in game two. You know, but the Cavs are gonna have to respond in game two because this is not 2016. This is not last year. They cannot go down 3 games to 1 against this version of the Golden State Warriors. Because if that happens again, it's over. They're not gonna win 4 straight games or 3 straight games, excuse me, against this Golden State Warriors team. That's not gonna happen. And the biggest reason why that's not gonna happen is the Kevin Durant effect. No disrespect to Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes did an excellent job in his career with the Golden State Warriors. He was a key member on that 2015 championship Golden State Warriors team. He made big time plays. He made big time defensive stops. He hit big time buckets. But there's a difference between having Harrison Barnes on the floor at the 3 and Kevin Durant on the floor at the 3. And you've seen it here in game 1. LeBron James doesn't have time to rest. LeBron James doesn't have time to help out Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love when they get beat defensively by Steph Curry and Draymond Green. There's no more of that help BS like he's had to do the last 2 seasons against Golden State. This year, he has to guard Kevin Durant now. So now, it's something that I've been saying for years. To beat a LeBron James team, you have to have a 3 that LeBron James has to guard. And has to consistently guard all game long. Kevin Durant is that type of player. There's nobody else on the Cleveland Cavaliers who can stop Kevin Durant. There's nobody else on the Cleveland Cavaliers who can guard Kevin Durant except LeBron James. And LeBron James can't stop Kevin Durant. He will make it difficult, but he can't stop Kevin Durant. But he's the only defender who can make it difficult for Kevin Durant. Which means LeBron James has to defend Kevin Durant, which leaves the Kyrie Irvings on the island with Steph Curry to leave Draymond Green, alone to guard Kevin Love. And there's for Kevin Love to guard, Draymond Green, excuse me. And as much as Steph Curry don't play defense, neither does Kyrie Irving. So it's a wash there. Because the same way Kyrie Irving can take advantage of Steph Curry on the defensive end, on the offensive end, Steph Curry can take advantage of Kyrie Irving on his offensive end. And one key thing that you also saw in this game, Draymond Green did an excellent job of putting a hand up and getting in the face of Kevin Love on those 3-point shots. If you remember going back to the previous series that Cleveland had in the playoffs against Boston, especially in the Eastern Conference Finals, Boston didn't have anybody who could guard Kevin Love at the 3-point arc. They had other bigs who are not used to guarding guys who shoot threes trying to guard Kevin Love. And he was just getting wide open 3 after wide open 3 after wide open 3. They can't do that against Draymond Green because Draymond Green is quick enough and athletic enough to get out there and put a hand up and to defend Kevin Love at that 3-point arc, which will make it difficult for Kevin Love to shoot wide open threes because he won't have wide open threes. That's another adjustment that Ty Lue is going to have to do for the Cavaliers. They're going to have to figure out some type of way to get more production offensively from Kevin Love. Kevin Love had, a great game rebounding the basketball. He was the only guy for the Cavaliers that did anything on the boards mainly. He had, I think he had 17 or 18 rebounds. LeBron, I think, had like 10 rebounds. So those were the only 2 guys that really did anything on the boards. But outside of that, offensively, Kevin Love was a no-show offensively. And that was because of the pressure that Draymond Green was putting on, because he's quick enough to get out there to put a hand in the face of those 3-point shots from Kevin Love. Klay Thompson, like I said previously, said earlier, did an excellent job on Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving had made tough shots. Kyrie Irving, I think, dropped 20 plus points. I think he had like 23, 24 points tonight, but they were a tough 23, 24 points because Klay Thompson stayed in front. He put a hand up. He made him work for every shot. And, he played excellent defense. Kyrie Irving, is a great player, so he's going to make tough shots. But he did everything he could to make it tough on him. At the end of the day, overall, offensively, the Golden State Warriors weren't at their best. Even though they scored 113 points, they weren't at their best. And they admitted it themselves. Steph Curry admitted it after the game that offensively in the first half they weren't clicking. But defensively they were clicking. And that's how you win championships. You win championships with defense. Defensively, the Golden State Warriors were all over the court defensively. They were all over the court. They had hands in shooters' faces. They were getting out to guys, running guys off the 3-point arc. They were switching. Guys were in the right spots to take charges. Guys were in the passing lanes. Guys were stripping the ball out of the Cavalier players' hands. They play an excellent defensive game. And that's how you beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. You're going to have to play excellent defense. You have to stay in front of guys. You have to shoot those passing lanes. You have to rebound the basketball and push it, on the other, down the other end. Overall, they played an excellent game defensively. But like I said, it's one game. It's one down, 3 more to go for the Warriors. Game 2 is a huge game for the Warriors because you don't want the Cavaliers to build any type of confidence that they can beat them on their home floor. So you have to come out in Game 2 and set the tone once again that, look, you're not coming to the Oracle. You're not coming into our house and getting a W. That's not going to happen. For the Cavaliers, they have to bounce back and they have to learn from their mistakes and they have to, play way better defense because they played lackluster defense tonight. Their defense was lackluster. Like I said, Golden State's offense wasn't clicking on all cylinders, but they still scored 113 points. Kevin Durant and to a degree Steph Curry had an explosion, but Draymond Green was off offensively. Klay Thompson was off offensively. Like Kevin Durant and Steph Curry were the only 2 guys in double figures for Golden State. And he still scored 113 points. There's been one thing I've said over the last 2 years between the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And it's rang true the last 2 years. And even Game 1 is further proved that it rings true. When Golden State beats the Cavaliers, they beat the crap out of them. Like, they demolish them. They win by double digits. They win by 20, 25 points. But when the Cavaliers beat the Warriors, it's always a nail biter, down to the wire, last second shot, close game tied, or Warriors up 1 or Cavs up 1. It's a nail biter type of game. So it shows, the type of team and the type of players that they have. Like, the Cavaliers cannot go bucket for bucket. As much as everybody wants to believe that the Cleveland Cavaliers can go bucket to bucket with the Golden State Warriors, they can't go bucket to bucket with the Golden State Warriors. They can't go. They don't have the consistency enough to go bucket to bucket with the Golden State Warriors. You know, the Cavs rely on guys who are inconsistent. J.R. Smith is inconsistent. Watch this game. J.R. Smith, if J.R. Smith's not hitting shots, J.R. Smith's a liability on the floor. Because if he's not hitting shots, he's not going to play defensively. He's not going to do anything. You're not going to hear from J.R. Smith. Go back to 2 years ago in the 2015 NBA Finals. J.R. Smith played every game in 2015. But J.R. Smith wasn't hitting threes. He wasn't hitting any shots offensively. And what ended up happening? He wasn't hitting his shots. So that means he wasn't playing defense, which means you didn't hear from him. Last year, 2016, J.R. Smith was hitting his shots. He was hitting his shots more consistently. And then when he hit his shots, his defense picked up. But that's the type of player that J.R. Smith is. J.R. Smith's inconsistent. If his shot's falling, J.R. Smith is engaged. He's going to play all around good game. If J.R. Smith's broke, he's a no call, no show. You will not see J.R. Smith. The last 2 years proved it. In 2015, when J.R. Smith's shot was broke, he was a no call, no show. In 2016, when he was hitting his shot a little more consistent, he played better defensively. The first game here in 2017, J.R. Smith's shots broke. He's nowhere to be found. That's J.R. Smith. It's always been J.R. Smith. But I say all that to say that's a guy that the Cavaliers rely upon to give them consistent outside shooting. Kyle Korver. I said at the beginning, at the beginning of the year, early on in the year, when they made the trade to bring Kyle Korver on board, I told a lot of people thought that was going to make a huge difference for the Cavaliers. And I told people it's not going to make a huge difference. Why? Because Kyle Korver doesn't play defense. He's soft defensively. So if Kyle Korver is not hitting threes, he's a liability on the floor. And Kyle Korver was a no call, no show. I think he only took like 2 shots. And they had to get him out of the game because defensively he couldn't handle the onslaught because there was nobody for Kyle Korver to guard. Because you can't hide Kyle Korver on anybody on the Warriors, which is going to affect his offensive game. And that's what I said months ago when they made the trade. Kyle Korver is a great 3-point shooter, but that's all he does. He's a 3-point shooter. And if the Warriors expose him defensively, that's going to take him out of his game, which is being a 3-point shooter. So that's one less consistent threat that the Cavaliers have. That's one consistent threat that they don't have. It's Kyle Korver. Like Kyle Korver did nothing. J.R. Smith gave him nothing. Darren Williams gave him nothing. Iman Shumpert hit a couple shots. Richard Jefferson hit a couple shots. But overall, the bench basically gave him nothing. I think the bench at most gave him maybe like 10, 12 points. 10, 12, 14 points maybe. You need more than that off the bench if you're going to beat the Golden State Warriors. You need more than 12, 14 points off the bench. You need more guys off the bench to consistently produce. Because Golden State is going to have guys to come off the bench and produce. Andre Iguodala is going to come off the bench and produce. Sean Livingston is going to come off the bench and produce. Hell, JaVale McGee is going to come off the bench and produce something. He's not going to really do too much offensively if it's not an alley-oop. But defensively, he's going to block shots and he's going to rebound. Like Golden State's going to get guys who's going to do things that comes off the bench. And they're going to get production off the bench. Golden State's going to get production off the bench. So you need your bench to produce something. And if Darren Williams and Kyle Korver can't get it going, then that's going to be a huge problem for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Huge problem. But, like I've been saying during the duration of this video, It's only one game. One down, three to go. Golden State has three more games. They got to win. And that's the mentality that I think the Warriors have. They're not too high, they're not too low. They know there's still much work to be done, but it was a good start. Cavaliers, they have to go back to the hotel, go back to practice tomorrow. They got to make adjustments. They have to figure out, you know, they're going to have to figure out how to get a more consistent game from other guys that's not the big three. They need production from other guys. They're going to need production from J.R. Smith. They're going to need production from Tristan Thompson. They're going to need production from their bench. And speaking of the big three, they're going to need more from Kevin Love. This is the biggest thing that everybody talked about with Kevin Love being a part of this big three. Kevin Love can look like the Kevin Love from Minnesota when he's playing up against Boston, against the Kelly Olynyk and all those type of guys. But there's a big difference between Kelly Olynyk and Draymond Green. And it showed here in game one that Draymond Green ain't no punk. He's not finna let you just have all those wide open threes. He's not finna just let you try to punk him in the post. That's not finna happen. And Kevin Love doesn't have the type of game to try to take advantage of Draymond Green with his side, because he doesn't have they don't throw the ball in the post to Kevin Love. So he doesn't have like a low post game. Not saying that Kevin Love can't post up, but as far as in this offense that Cleveland runs, they don't really feature him in the post. They more feature him as a 3-point shooter, long distance shooter, which plays into the hands of Golden State because Draymond Green is quick enough and athletic enough to get out there to contest those shots. So it is what it is, man. Like, we're gonna see what happens game two. We're gonna, I guarantee you that Cleveland will make adjustments. I guarantee you that game two will be more competitive. I feel like game two will go down to the wire. But I also believe that Golden State will find a way to overcome those adjustments. I feel like Golden State, with Kevin Durant, leading the way, is gonna, get a W and get it done in game two, and really take a stranglehold and take control. But on Golden State's end, to win game two, they have to continue what they did on defense. Take what they did here in game one defensively, make that translate to game two. They have to finish more, around the basket, because Golden State did miss a lot of, layups and things of that nature around the basket. They missed a lot of those tonight, so they got to clean that up. They have to, rebound the basketball. They did a good job of rebounding tonight, but they can improve on that, on that effort. So they need to, get better rebounding. And then, just little tidbits and nuggets. They need to make sure they stay in front of Kyrie Irving, stay in front of LeBron James on those drives and those going to the basket.